We're world premiering your movie this afternoon, The Hoarder. Can you give us a non-spoilery synopsis of what people are going to expect from the film?
The movie is a horror thriller about set in New York. It's about a girl in her mid-20s, Ella, who lives with a very successful Wall Street boyfriend. Mm-hmm. She suspects he is having an affair. She's quite a sort of paranoid, jealous, neurotic young lady, and she doesn't trust him, and she wants to get to the bottom of it. But unfortunately, getting to the bottom of it comes with a price.
Terrific cast. I mean, tell us how that came about.
The movie was set in the States. We wanted to get a lead American actress. We went out to a few people. You know, Misha Barton's very well known. Mm-hmm. She's appeared in quite a lot of genre films.
Yep.
She's making a bit of a comeback at the moment, which is great. We also wanted to get some great cast. I mean, it is sort of an ensemble movie, mm-hmm. And it's a character film, and there's a lot of interaction between all the characters, all the 7 characters. So it was very important to get some really strong actors around her. Robert Knepper plays a cop in the film. Mm-hmm. People know Robert Knepper from Prison Break.
Yep.
He plays T-Bag,
yep.
a child sex offender in that film. I think he's the best thing in Prison Break. He's brilliant. He was brilliant to work with. Emily A. Tack is in it as well from The In-Betweeners. And I think with casting, once you get a few key people, then often other people, join the gang.
And how did you get involved with the project itself?
I used to have a lot of stuff in storage. Being a bit of a sort of itinerant character, was moving around every sort of known and unknown suburb of London over several years, and rather than keeping my stuff with me, I kept on putting it in different storage facilities and got to know quite a few very well. And there was one particular place that I had a lot of stuff in West London, just off the A40, which is a bit of sort of bleak place. After rush hour, there's nobody there, and I ended up going down there quite a lot late at night. Oh. There's always one thing you need, that old DVD that you need to get hold of a copy because you can't find it anywhere else, and you suddenly remember, oh shit, it's in the storage facility. So I was often down there at 11, 12 o'clock at night. It was a 3-story place, and I think I was the only person in there, and I was walking to my unit, and I got a bit lost, and I thought, hold on, is it down this way, is it down that way? And again, I thought, well, the weird thing about this, reminded me of that movie, The Cube, that kind of a thing where you're kind of in a maze and everything looks the same. Mm-hmm. And I got to my unit, and in this particular storage facility, they had kind of metal sheet walls, but just above those was chicken wire at the top, above about 6 foot, 6.5 foot. So, being a sort of inquisitive, nosy kind of character, I thought, I wonder what's in the unit next door, and I had quite a few chairs in my unit, so I pulled out a chair and stood up, peered over into the unit next door, and I actually fell off my chair because staring back at me were 30 naked mannequins.
Oh my God.
Yeah, which, it's the kind of thing people leave in a storage facility, but it wasn't what I was expecting, and I thought, oh, there's a lot of possibilities in here.
And it's interesting you drew the Cube comparison, because it must have taken a lot of planning to actually get. It's quite an intimate space, isn't it? Did that involve? Was it very carefully prepped out?
It was, and it was quite complicated because we only had a certain amount we could build, that we could afford to build, and we had to replicate stuff, but we also had to replicate it in a way that didn't look too familiar.
Sure.
But it also wanted to look a bit familiar. Mm-hmm. So we had a set. We had a sort of crisscrossing set. The set went through various different stages. It started off quite a sort of irregular pattern, mm-hmm. and that didn't really work, just because that's not how storage facilities are built, and you just don't get long enough corridors, and I wanted to get a really long space to be able to shoot down. And then we basically had a massive X and then a load of other different interconnecting corridors behind, but people used to visit the set and get lost quite quickly.
Yep.
And also as we were moving the set around, we had to close off different bits and steal a door from here and turn it into a wall there. And quite often, like, the art department would get trapped behind a wall. you know, or one of the actresses was turning up and we could hear her but we couldn't see her.
Now, I think the film is very effective and genuinely scary in parts. How did you go about capturing that on film, which is not an easy task, is it, to create tension and scares for the audience?
Thank you very much for saying that. It is very difficult to scare people, especially a modern audience, and certainly with quite a lot of movies, you can hear the soundtrack is doing a lot of the scares. You know, the scare is in the dub rather than in being a genuine jump. I mean, I guess, you know, there is the classic, you know, there's a classic structure in horror films of how to make people jump, which is, you know, the setup. You create a spooky kind of atmosphere. You misdirect the audience. You kind of go, oh, look over there. There's something pleasant going on over there, and then you sort of wham them from behind. I guess another way of doing that is misdirecting them with something that they think is quite scary, and then, you know, then giving them the and it's very, very hard because the audience knows that we're waiting for a scare, but then there's also this other thing that the audience wants to be scared, so they enjoy the fact that they know something is coming. So, you know, I think if you create a lot of tension and don't pay that off, that's very frustrating. If you create tension and pay it off immediately, that's also rather annoying. So you have to find a fine balance between the two. And I think, you know, at some points we were successful in doing that, and other points, you know, not so much.